Alright guys, so today I'm going to explain why Jesus was a Muslim. And I know this might sound preposterous, especially if you're a Christian or if you're an atheist, because I was an atheist before. So if someone said Jesus was a Muslim, I'll be like, what are they talking about? So I'm going to explain exactly why. And first, in order to understand, the statement, you have to first understand what the word Muslim means. So what is Muslim, right? Muslim, all that Muslim means to submit your will to the will of God. That's all a Muslim is. Now, was Jesus a Christian, right? Now, this question is very, difficult to answer because we don't know if the Christianity today is what the Christianity Jesus got at the time. So when I say that Jesus was a Muslim, it's not just pointing at Jesus, right, as being a Muslim. It's also pointing at all the other prophets. Because, when I researched this, I noticed that all the prophets in history, Moses, Abraham, Adam, they were all prophets of God. They were all servants of God. And by definition, they were basically Muslims. All the prophets in history, guys, were Muslims. So that's what I mean when I say that Jesus was a Muslim, right? Is just because Islam came before, just because the Quran, specifically Islam existed before Jesus, but just because the Quran came after Jesus does not make Jesus not a Muslim. Because believe it or not, Jesus prayed on his head, right? And that's the way we as Muslims pray. We basically put our forehead on the ground, right? And Jesus showed, everyone how to pray to God. So this is proof that, Jesus was indeed a servant of God, right? And he was just a prophet that came onto this earth to basically spread one message. And that message was to say that there's only one God worthy of worship. We Muslims believe that the Bible got corrupted, right? Meaning that they added things like the Trinity, like they added like the line Jesus and God are one. Like that entire line, like I 100% guarantee you that was added in. That was not there in Jesus' time. I don't think Jesus meant to say that he was God, right? Because God, because you have to keep in mind, like Jesus is one of the best people that ever lived. Like he's one of the top 5 best human beings that ever lived on planet Earth, right? So Jesus should be a very respected man, but he is not God, right? He was a prophet. All the prophets are all Chads, guys. But all of them were servants of God. All of them just came down on earth to reveal the truth. And that truth was that there's only one God worthy of worship. That's all we're talking about, guys. So that's what I mean by, Jesus being a Muslim. Because I think the religion of Jesus was Islam, right? Because Islam, all it means is submission under one God, right? That's all it means. Islam is submission under one God, and that remains true before even the Quran got revealed, right? Just because the Quran got revealed does not mean Islam was born. Islam existed way before the Quran, because the truth existed way before. Just because the truth didn't get revealed but with the Quran does not mean that it did not exist before, because it was still there. The truth was still there, it just didn't get revealed until the Quran. Do you guys understand? And I'm sure there are parts of the Bible where there is truth to the Bible. Like I'm not saying like the Bible is completely like just, like invalid, but there are parts of the Bible that we don't know got added in. Because there are certain things got added in, like Jesus and God being one. Like that was completely, like you can just tell that they made that up, right? And you can just tell that like certain things in the Bible got kind of corrupted, right? And I think Islam is the original essence of what all the prophets are trying to convey, right? All the prophets before Muhammad were trying to convey the message of there being only one God. And that's the entire purpose of Islam. Islam just holds the backbone, and it's like an updated version of what Christianity was supposed to be. So if you look at Christianity, guys, you're going to see how Christianity and Islam are very similar. But, what I started to notice was that Christianity holds the essence of what Islam holds the essence of what Christianity was supposed to be, right? So, I know it might sound weird to say that Jesus was a Muslim, but that's basically why. Because that's all it means, guys. Like, don't think about, people think Muslim equals terrorists. Muslim equals the Quran. Islam equals the Quran. Islam is not equal to the Quran, guys. Because Islam is God. And God has existed before the Quran. Yes, God produced the Quran. But the Quran itself is not what makes up Islam. Because Islam is beyond that. Islam is God. And God is infinite. So you cannot, condense an entire religion down to one book. Right? Because God is more than that. God is if God wanted to, God could make 1 million different Qurans for 1 million different species throughout the entire universe. But the Quran was specifically there made for us as humans, right? That's the thing with the Quran. Like, the Quran is just basically a simple guideline of how to live life as a human, right? But if there are guys in Neptune, like if there are like a certain species, a race in Neptune, God could basically create a holy scripture to guide those people in Neptune, right? So it's not specifically tied down to a book. It's specifically, Islam and being a Muslim, all it means is submission under a higher power. And that's really all it is. And, when you really think about it, Jesus was indeed a Muslim.